We are Lagos Talks 91.3.
Let's talk.
All right, it's 2 minutes past 11. A very good morning. Welcome to the midday show with me, Ify, here on Lagos Talks 91.3. As always, Fridays, we start with an absolute bang. We bring your way People's Perspective, which is a platform where we echo your perspective. We dissect different topical stories and issues making rounds in Nigeria and even other parts of the world. We just really touch on issues that affect you as a Nigerian citizen and as a global citizen. My name is Ify, like I mentioned, and in the studio is my co-host, Seun Kuti.
Yes, so happy Independence Day, everybody.
Indeed.
Belated a bit, but this is our Independence Day edition. TPP is happy to be here with you today. Ha! If you tell them, give them, drop the bomb.
By the way,
drop the bomb. Something is about to happen.
We are going to be giving away a total of 60,000 naira to 2 lucky winners today on the People's Perspective only. Now, this is different from the other 60,000 naira we've been giving away on Lagos Talks. I'm going to be announcing those other winners. So someone did win yesterday on the midday show, but especially for you
can I also
today,
play this competition?
No, of course you're not qualified.
Hey,
anybody in this studio like this is not qualified.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Nobody in this studio is qualified. So guys, we're going to be letting you know how you're going to win this at some point during the show today. So listen and tell people to tell people to tell people, because you can only win once. So you can tell your friend to win the other one. So let them know that this is what we're doing today. All right, guys, as always, we're going to be talking about the top stories. So at first, we're going to touch on the cancelled strike by the labor union, right? So we're just going to touch on it a bit. That'll be a sprinkle. And then afterwards, we're going to move on to the school feeding program scandal, so to speak. There was a discovery by the ICPC, which was a fraudulent activity behind the school feeding program. Now, there are so many layers to this that we're going to be dissecting. And then we're going to focus on Nigeria at 60.
From your perspective, from the people's perspective.
Exactly. And then after that, we'll definitely let you know, during that period, how you can win the 60,000. All right, let's just get into it. We're going to just touch on the labor strike that they cancelled or that they suspended.
Yeah, very interestingly, actually. If anybody goes to check my Instagram page, last Friday, I went straight from here to a NLC meeting.
That's interesting.
Like with JAF, like a joint session, preparing everybody for the so-called strike.
Oh, that was what the meeting was for.
Yeah, and when I went there, it's interesting. I said that on Friday, and it did what it did on
a few days after,
on Sunday night, into Monday morning. Because after 2012, I told them there, I said, see, right now these demands you are making are pro-people demands. You are galvanizing the masses of Nigerians to give weight to this union strike, because very small percentage of Nigerians are actually in the unions. But the unions are strong because they are the ones that make things work for basically our oppressors. Really, that's how it is, because the people that control production in this country do not use it for the benefit of Nigerians. It's for their own individual benefit, So they are their staff, basically. So without them, everything will grind to a halt, right? So they play a powerful role, and it's good that they are organized. But labor also has a political destiny, not just the economic destiny. Labor, in the actuality of it, should have a political platform where it's, pushing policies that are pro-workers, pro-working class, and pro-poor. But I found out that in Nigeria, the Labor Congress, the labor unions, actually, let me say, their bosses are very much not in cahoots with the poor as the working class, but with the elites.
So they're not really representing the people.
And they speak from both sides of the mouth. One day they are against privatization, but they are also on the board, the National Board of Privatization, I what they call it. They are also represented in the committee. They give their consent to all the privatization policies of so I don't really understand what their game is. So I said to them in 2012, you galvanize our energies. Then you went into a negotiation with government that suited only your own organizations. You know, how did I come to this fact? After the 2012 protest, I felt kind of empty because apart from what the young civil servants did and refused to, you know, I've spoken about that before on the show. You know, they've all, this one now was on the side of the Labour. Now, why did Labour come to such an agreement with the federal government? So I was really disillusioned. So my organization, we called ourselves then Change Movement. We dissolved that now. You know, we did a symposium where we invited Peter Esele, the former president of the TUC. You know, just to me, the only reason I wanted him to come and speak there was just so I could have the opportunity to ask him, you know, why did they, you know, negotiate that way? In my own terms, I said, why did they betray the Nigerian people? So he made something very clear to me. He said, they did not betray the Nigerian people. He said, when they go into negotiation, they negotiate things that benefit their members. And as long as their members can afford, you know, whatever is negotiated, they feel that they've done their job. I said, so how about the hopes of the millions of Nigerian people that are not in the union, but this thing affects them even worse than members, that you galvanize their energies. So you only use them as a leverage. Okay. You know, basically. You know, so that basically, so I was not asking them at the meeting that before me I join any protest this time, I want to know, who are you going to negotiate for when we galvanize the people to follow you? Who are you going to negotiate for? The masses, the citizens of Nigeria, or only the members of your union? You know, and now it's even worse because when I looked at the things, the terms of the agreement, they didn't even negotiate for members of their union. They negotiate for the top. There's this 50 billion specification or something for the top workers or something like that. I was like, oh my goodness, these people are not even hiding anymore. You know, their betrayal of the Nigerian people.
Did they respond to you when you asked that question?
Oh, no, of course, they didn't respond to me, you know, they didn't respond to me. Somebody came and told me, we cannot criticize Labour because Labour is still the most...
So now that we've seen that they suspended the electricity hike tariffs for 2 weeks, do you think that even benefits the masses? Do you think that to an extent it will benefit the masses?
For me, you know, in Nigeria, what is funny about Nigeria is that it's the same people that own the lights that own the petrol. So if they just hold one of their hand down small, it doesn't mean, you know, they're already making, you know, don't be surprised if the price of petrol goes up in that 2 weeks.
Wow.
Don't be surprised. You think you can hold us here, we'll hold you here. Yeah. So for me, what matters is that once more, leadership is failing. Not only in the government side, but also, as we can see, in the civil society, labor union side. You know, the people of Nigeria, the citizens of this country, truly do not have those that represent them. Everybody is there for individual development, it seems to me. You know, national development has become maybe the fourth or 15.
Wow. So is there a possibility, now that they're going to, of course, reconvene, as regards further negotiations, is there a possibility that there could be some benefits for the people?
My own question is this. Forget the minimum wage issue. Because first of all, Saudi Arabia minimum wage is 305,000 naira. Whereas our own is 30,000. The percentage of fuel of 200 naira out of 305,000 is minute compared to the effect of 168 on 30,000 naira salary. But that is aside. My own is that, why would the president of Nigeria be using Saudi Arabia or any other country to tell us what we deserve? We've put you there as the Nigerian people. We say this is what we want. It is your duty to come up with the ideas to deliver it. That's why you are our government. Not to impose your own will on the people. It is the other way around. The people's will should be your, you know, your goal, your dream and ambition. My people want cheap petrol. How do I make sure I give them cheap? That should be not you sitting down on your high horse. They're now in Saudi Arabia, they are murdering journalists. Aren't they killing journalists in their embassies? That the world has caught them. So now the next thing that, because Saudi Arabia is killing journalists, which are going to start killing journalists here, is fine.
Comparing apples. Anyways, just as regards this really, because, you know, like I always say, the jury is still out on this one, especially regarding the decision that the government made with the removal of the subsidy and the increase in the electricity tariffs.
You know why the jury is not out?
The jury is
the
still
jury is
out on
in.
it. The jury is still out on it because
You know why?
because based off of the explanation from financial analysts
They've
about
given these explanations before.
fantastic, but
They've
it's still
done it
out. It's
before.
still out. It's
They've
still
done
out.
it 1 million
But what I
times.
believe the government should have done at best is to ensure that they created cushioning effects. Even if they wanted to remove the subsidy and increase the electricity, because like you mentioned, they are putting the
Let me
cart
tell you
before the
something.
horse.
Let me
They
tell you
should have
something.
done that.
The only time that can happen is that those that run these industries are made to sign agreements with government that declare how they're going to spend this profit developing Nigeria, outlined. Without that, saying that, oh, they will do it out of their, is impossible. 60 years,
Which is
only
part of what the government should have put in place.
It's not even, this is not putting in place. This is our national resources that should go towards national development. People involved in these industries must be engineered and steered by government towards how the money and the profit should be spent. That is how development happens. But as long as that is not signed, there's no cushioning effect. There's nothing they want to do. They've done it 1 million times, and what ends up happening, as we've seen in the first, as soon as they increase the fuel money, they were already showing us how they are spending it right in our face so callously, you know. So without that, they will only use it for individual development.
So before any decision that the government should make, especially decisions that affect the people, the way of life of the people, the quality of life of the people, the government ought to do its homework. The government ought to do its groundwork, because like you did mention, they should make it mandatory, especially when it comes to the elite, saying, listen, because this is our commonwealth, this is our natural resource, whatever profit it is that you're making from it, it should be towards national development. These are the things that the government should have done.
Yeah.
If they wanted to make that decision.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so the jury is not out because they did not do it, and for that reason, because they want the same
Yes.
largesse,
Yeah.
you know.
But the jury is out
consumption.
on the benefits of the subsidy removal, because like you mentioned, these financial analysts are telling us what they want us to hear. This is according to you. However, when they did come out with an official report, they did mention, because we want to be qualified enough to borrow from external bodies, there are specific things that have been put in place. So that's the reason why I'm saying the jury is still out. They're still saying, listen, this is the only way forward that Nigeria could have gone.
This is the only way we can do it, so we can borrow money. This is not the only way we can do it ourselves. There's a way we can do it ourselves, tightening our belt, not borrowing money, reducing the size of government, the expenditure of the largesse of the federal government, of state government, the way everybody lives as if they are lords instead of political servants. You know, remove all that one first. Going into labor, and instead of going to bring people from all over the world, using our own local hands. Yes, it might take longer time, but we have a lot of people. We have 200 million people. We have the labor force, so we can do it internally, but that one takes hard work. So what is the easy one? Bring hardship on your people and we'll dash you small money. You know, what is that? Who is doing that in 2020? How is that developing anybody? Who have you heard that have even borrowed themselves out of poverty? Any nation? Nations that have risen out of poverty have willed themselves out of it. You know, nobody has borrowed themselves out of poverty before. I've not heard it. No individual can do it. No nation can do it.
Well, this is a conversation that will definitely be ongoing, because there are people that will come out to say, listen, even for the government to
I will tell those people immediately
that infrastructure to get Nigeria better, they need to borrow that money.
Without these things, which work is financial? That financial analyst, without all these things, which work will he be doing? Which work will he be doing?
That's about it regarding the suspension of the labor union strike. Like we mentioned, we're going to be observing. Let's see what really does happen. If eventually they are going to negotiate any benefits that will extend to the actual masses, not just the members of the union.
If you are still expecting a negotiation.
Alright, let's take this one coming from
negotiation is
Okikiolu.
over.
So Okikiolu is saying, due to the time difference, it's always tough to stay up to catch with the show live. I always rewatch on Seun's Instagram. I stayed up to make sure that I don't miss the Independence edition of the show. Thank you, Seun and Ify. Love from Okikiolu from Vancouver in Canada.
This message alone win the whole money. If
you
are in Nigeria, I'll have said it. We found the winner.
This is coming from Don Away saying disorganized, organized labor cannot go through labor for Nigerians. They are selfish and self-centered with their myopic and visionary impaired negotiating tactics. It's according to him. All right, let's
He's right.
move. Let's
I
move
agree,
on
rather. Let me say I
quickly
agree.
to. Let's move on quickly to the school feeding program. So we have more time talking about Nigeria at 60. So the chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, we know them as the ICPC, Professor Balaji Owasanoye, said that the agency discovered 2.67 billion naira meant for the school feeding program in private accounts. And so the agency added as well that they also found over 2.5 billion naira diverted by a certain deceased worker with the Ministry of Agriculture, noting that the 18 buildings, 12 business premises, and 25 plots of land were also recovered in the ministry. He disclosed this in Abuja on Monday during a summit on diminishing corruption in the public sector. He said under the Open Treasury Portal review carried out between January and August 2020, 72 out of 268 ministries, departments, and agencies had cumulative infractions of 90 million naira. So according to him, while 33 of these ministries, departments, and agencies explained that 4.1 billion naira was transferred to sub-treasury single accounts, 4.2 billion naira paid to individuals had no satisfactory explanation. Of course, this is where all the investigation started, and we were able to uncover these discrepancies. Now, before we further dissect this story, because the first time we heard about this, first time we heard about this, people's minds just went straight to Sadia Farouk of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development because of the homegrown school feeding program. So people started calling her ministry out. And so her ministry immediately released a statement saying, and I quote, "The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development hereby informs the public that the federal government college's school feeding in question is different from the homegrown school feeding, which is one of its social investment programs." She went further saying, "The school feeding under scrutiny is feeding of students in federal government colleges across the country, and it's not under the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, which only oversees homegrown school feeding for children in primaries 1 to 3 in select public schools across the country." So we know the National Social Investment Program, which has a few factors or a few different programs underneath it. We have the GEEP, we have the Homegrown School Feeding Program, we have the Empower with the 30,000 naira monthly and all that. Now they're saying that that is different from this particular school feeding program in question. So she's saying, listen, dissociate my ministry from that. So Seun, did you know that there were different school feeding programs?
My own is that one person used one money to feed children at home. One person was supposed to feed children at home, but the money got to somebody's account. So somebody's I'm still waiting for one child that received food in their house, because I don't understand this school feeding when children didn't go to school.
I remember certain media publications released, certain information that the homegrown school feeding program had spent over 13.5 billion naira monthly for the so-called school feeding program. But they came out to debunk that, saying that they've only spent over 500 million naira for the homegrown school feeding program. So a lot of people are still trying to investigate to figure out what really is going on there. Now, this particular story arose hearing that there is another school feeding program, but this one is on a tertiary level. What are your thoughts?
College is like high school, federal government college. Like
just high school?
All these high schools now, like federal government college, Ogbomoso, federal government college.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I actually assumed that it was, was including universities as well.
American way without colleges. Oh,
really? Are you sure about that?
International ways.
Anyways, but did you know that there were two different school feeding programs? One focused on the primary, and this is under the department or the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, and then this other school feeding program, which is supposed to be for secondary school students, according to the college in Nigeria, and that is for another ministry. Do you think that that is the best way to handle the school feeding, or do you think that that should come under one ministry itself?
This is what I'm saying. Look at this bureaucracy. Look at this bulky government. Look at two people doing the same job, and they say they are saving money by making us suffer. That's what I'm saying. This is the point I'm making. Before I can even take this case story, this story serious, this case story is serious. Or whatever. I don't even know how to say it anymore. These people are confusing me now. Let them tell us the personal account people name. In personal account, the person name be that.
They're still investigating.
All account have BVN. I beg. Tell us the name of the people. Let's know that this one is a serious matter. Other than that, this is just another news to distract us from our suffering.
Do you think it's a bit too convenient that the person is deceased?
We know that one person is deceased. And
the main person who diverted the funds.
But to whom? I mean, people diverted it to. They just received the money because what did they do for it? Let's ask questions. Let's find out the people. Because it's only in Nigeria that something like, remember that Panama Papers too? That's how Panama Papers came out, listed a whole host of Nigerians, and nothing happened about it. Nobody talk about it again. So that's how Nigeria is. I feel all this news every day is to make us forget that our children cannot go to school. There's no security in our land. People are still hungry in Nigeria, where people are claiming to be billionaires. People can't have. There's no affordable housing. Too many homeless people begging on the streets. Child abuse, child labor. In our very eyes, we see children everywhere with load on their head. The government dare not even stop it because what will they do? What will their parents do otherwise? They are happy, We as citizens of this country, we have taken up the job of government. We send all our relatives to school. We pay their hospital bills. We dash them money every week when they are unemployed. We are all helping this government to cushion the effect of its ineffectiveness.
That they created.
So me, I'm just that, and that's what I'm tired of.
Yeah. With the ICPC, first of all, I would have to say this, that I am to a large extent impressed that they are actually doing their jobs. And the reason why I'm impressed, given the state of things in Nigeria, that it didn't take a certain investigative journalism or journalist to come out with information that led them to release this information. So first of all, I would say that the ICPC did its work well, but I will definitely expect them to finish what they've started as regards this investigation.
If somebody tells me that somebody is stealing money in government office in Nigeria, if you tell me that, you have not done your job.
Well,
because while I'm in my house,
this is better than what we've been seeing.
When I'm in my house, how can you tell me what I know and say, yeah, that's what I paid
fantastic. So like you did mention, right? They're expecting them to release the names of the people because one thing that of course prosecute them.
Nobody is going to jail. That's the problem again. Nobody's going to jail. Even the OG user carries that they sentenced to jail. They say the judge that sentenced him was the wrong judge from the judge that was supposed to sentence him. Yeah. So the sentence
we're expecting
is
that
now null and void.
We're expecting that things go on smoothly without corruption. However, one thing that I also do want to mention is this, because every single time that we hear, ridiculous sums being fraudulently taken or amassed by political office holders, we then see that the so-called fall guy or the figurehead that was put in that position or in that ministry is the one that ends up taking the fall, without them actually identifying the so-called cabals or people that were behind the scenes. And so I really hope that even if we are able to identify that one person's name that was majorly responsible for the billions of naira diverted into private accounts, that they will be able to identify every single person, because it seems like the weakest link always takes the fall for the rest, and they're always in government and they remain there.
But my own is that I don't think this needs, if it's true accounts, as they said, and except I tell you that some people in Nigeria are allowed to operate their accounts without BVN. I know the stress I went through.
So it's easy for them to identify the people.
So this is what I'm saying. This is not, just like you employing me now. Like, come and paint my wall for me. You now pay me to paint the wall. And I get it and I start telling you, so I'm going to take this brush, I'm going to put it in the paint, I'm going to rub it on your wall. I'm going to take the brush again, I'm going to put it in the paint, I'm going to rub it on the wall. I never draw, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to take this brush now, I'm going to put it in the red paint now, I'm going to put it across. And I explain it to you like that for an hour. And I pack my tools and say, I'm going home. I've done the job.
So, well, we definitely need to give them a kudos for bringing out this information. So I feel like, because when you bring out
kudos too.
No, and you know why? Because when now that they have exposed the fact that this level of corruption is going on behind the scenes in this school feeding program, it means that the general public is more aware to hold them accountable. Now we know there's something happening. Now tomorrow we can ask, the ICPC, but you were carrying out an investigation 2 months ago. Can you give us the findings of your investigation?
If
That's
you
what we're
I'll repeat
expecting.
to you again, Shao, and all the people that are listening to this show, we already know they are still in there.
Oh, we do, but who is stealing?
We already exactly that's what that is the only thing
And
missing
that's
here.
what we're expecting, that
what-
they will give us their
what-
findings of their investigation.
So go come and be giving us what we know. Come and tell us what we don't know. That's what we don't know.
Okay, so you would have expected them to have kept it, and then until they
when they are
uncovered
ready.
every bit of.
Exactly. Now God, depends that they've
But
thought.
we're the same people that we asked them to carry us along. We're saying
I didn't
the
tell you to carry me
communication
along
process
this
should
one.
be transparent. The investigation process should be transparent as well.
This is
We're
a
the same people
criminal-
that ask that
This is
question.
a criminal investigation.
So
Now
you
we
should
want
not-
to do your job. When you finish,
then when you finish, come out.
let us know. Not be
You know the thing. I feel like in a climate like Nigeria,
Imagine you
if
like
they
you're
go
the
behind
thief
the
now.
scenes and we don't know,
Exactly.
they'll keep quiet about
this
it.
one is negotiation tactics. Let's not. They've thought we don't talk. Whoa, next whoa. If you don't, we are releasing. The way come relax.
Alright, so let's take this call. Lagos Talks. Ooh, give us a call back. The phone lines to call 0809 234 5913, 0809 222 0913, and also 0809 191 3913. You can get on Twitter at Lagos Talks 913 using the hashtag The People's Perspective. Please use that hashtag. You can send a WhatsApp message to 0809 234 5913. Lagos Talks, good morning. Who's speaking?
Good morning. Happy Independence.
Happy Independence. So,
Kill the man. Let's get it talk.
can we give Ebuka all the money?
No!
Ify. Seun.
Ebuka, Ade, my
I don't know
man.
how this guy does it.
My man. I say, and they tell you, I support your government. Tell them, make them know.
You know they told this thing before. They Labour no go do anything because they protect their own territory.
And they tell them, they know what year.
It don't happen. They feeding program, you see. They get money, 2.7 million for people who don't die. And they tell them they give a woman being. Who be that woman when they talk about? I ain't do that.
Ebuka, Lagos Talks. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning. Who's speaking?
My name is Victor.
All right, let's hear you.
Okay, about Labour. You and I know that after the era of Mashimon, Labour has been a toy boy. So I know that nothing will come. Nothing will come after. They're gonna collect their bonus, and if they were to collect, they will let them in. Then yes, will go after them. That is it. That is type of person we live in. You know, they've gone to collect their wings and they've shut up. Then about the home feeding program and all that.
The school feeding program.
When they said they spend such amount of money during lockdown, nobody was going to school. Every Nigerian should know what happened.
Happy.
But if someone can say they found something just to cover up.
I beg, who did you find it with? That's what we want to know.
That is
Interesting.
this, and they did not reveal anybody. And everybody is trying to hide their head.
At least you know it's from the Agric department.
Not just the money, no, they don't.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, guys,
People
let's
wicked
get
for this
into...
country, shall.
Yeah,
Their mind they
sadly.
back. More just
Yeah.
talk to people. They feed people.
Yeah.
They feed people for school with their house.
Sometimes I wonder how they live with themselves. You know, it's quite interesting how you can walk around Nigeria and see the poverty, but you are still amassing more and more wealth. More wealth.
I even one day that
Terrible.
community meeting of the snakes. When they say one snake, all the snakes will gather. Say, which of that? That body when they hide here now. Since they had for jungle, you swallow 70. Just keep
Let's
quiet.
take this call. Lagos Talks.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Who's speaking, please?
My name is Temitope.
Temitope, welcome. Join the conversation, please.
All right. The case of ICTC discovering fraud. What I think about it, like what Seun has said, it's like you conducted the examination and people are hearing that people fail. Now the lecturer came out and said, one of you failed in this examination. And he did not mention the name. Everybody was agitating, who? Come to my office. In the process of that,
everybody was trying to negotiate who failed. The name was not released. So why are you not saying somebody failed when the name was not released? That's exactly what it is. There's a fraud. Everybody knows that. Because when you are feeding people while they are on lockdown, what are you trying to tell us? The children are not in school, but you are saying you are feeding them. Now the fraud came out. What is the name of the person that has this money in his or her account? We don't know. So as far as I'm concerned, it's just for us to stir us up and be like as if they were working.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for your take. All right, guys. Let's move on quickly to Nigeria at 60. Remember, in case you're just tuning in, we're going to be giving away a total of 60,000 naira to 2 people.
Woo!
So 30,000 each today. We're going to let you know what you should do or what question you should answer before you can win. So we're going to be talking about Nigeria at 60. We celebrated our
Let me just say it
independence
again.
yesterday.
I feel it is a infraction on my human rights. I feel this is a deliberate abuse of my rights as a citizen of this country that I'll not be allowed to participate in this giveaway. You know.
Yeah,
that's all I'm just saying. You know, let me register my discontent.
This is for the people.
Which I'm
so
part
imagine,
of.
imagine that you are a political office holder. It's for the people. So don't take it for yourself. Alright guys, we know that our country Nigeria has had such a difficult history, which includes a few historical events in our timeline, like our civil war from 1967 to 1970 that further drove in an ethnic division, and this led to a period of military rule, which was the major bedrock of corruption according to majority of the citizenry. Then what came after, however, was a democracy that is still being questioned till this very day. So there was a little exercise during a conference, right, that was carried out, and 3 scenarios of Nigeria's trajectory were presented. The first scenario was a perilous trajectory. The second was that Nigeria was stumbling about in the middle. The third was Nigeria was on the right track, right? The participants split into rough thirds. Just 22% argued that the country is on the right track, while 33% said the journey is perilous. So Seun, according to your own experience and your knowledge about the history of Nigeria, because there are people that have been saying, let's also highlight the good, the positives, the achievements that we've been able,
those ones benefiting.
We've been able to garner ever since our independence 60 years ago. So what are your thoughts about, majority, according to this conference where they put out these different scenarios saying that Nigeria's trajectory is perilous?
They bribed those 22%. They bribed them,
Oh my goodness.
Definitely. Because how do you judge a country that is moving forward? It is by the way it is able to reduce poverty in every generation.
Of course.
Case closed. That's the bottom line. And Nigeria is increasing poverty every generation, not reducing poverty. So anybody that says you are on the right track is saying that because they are benefiting from the, from the perilous journey. A perilous journey is dangerous to the occupants of the car or the vehicle, but for the armed robber, is a payday that is making the journey perilous. So you have to. That's the problem with Nigeria. We don't have class consciousness and class analysis. We poor and working class people will be sitting down and be debating issues with professionals and elites that have secured their own comfort within oppression and think that you have the same goals and ambition. Their own goal is to maintain status quo no matter what. Because without this status quo, they will not have the things that they have. They don't think about changing it at all or making it beneficial to everybody. Because that will do what? It will reduce their own privilege within the system,
So you're saying that their own points of views are not inclusive.
So
they are saying
it is antagonistic.
So they are seeing things from their own comforts.
Exactly.
And from their own perspective. Anyways, let's just touch on some things that the president said.
How do you explain somebody with 2 Ferrari in this Nigeria that Nigeria is bad?
Interesting. So this is what the president said during his conference, during his speech yesterday. So he said, I'm just going to read a few lines, of course it's quite lengthy. He said, and I quote, "We need to begin a sincere process of national healing, and this anniversary presents a genuine opportunity to eliminate old and outworn perceptions that are always put to test in the lie that they always are." He then also said the stereotype of thinking of ourselves as coming from one part of the country before seeing ourselves as Nigerians is a key starting point to project us on the road to our deserved nation's
Let me just
evolution
chip in
and
there.
integration.
So this whole seeing ourselves as, listen, a man without culture is a savage. A man without culture, I repeat, is a savage. Nigeria is a nation without culture. The only cultures that exist here are these so-called tribes that you people diminish. Nations within nations that you should glorify as such, but you want to use the racist terminology that your white masters have taught us. Tribe. Okay. But this is the only places where cultures exist in this country. And me, I will not give up my culture to be a cultureless Nigerian. And how does the country develop culture? Culture is developed through national development, through nation building. In the process of developing a nation, that is when that nation develops its culture, because people come together to build their nation. They interact, they see what they like, they don't like, they see the extent, the excesses, the things that they like or accept, and people begin to talk and friction will happen, compromise will be reached. There will be national culture. Okay. This is how cultures are built. But these people have not embarked on this, but they never be blaming the people. Like, what are we supposed to hold on to? You want me to be a Nigerian? What is a Nigerian but, a sanctioned savage? That's what it means.
Okay, so because I'm a lover of culture, and I believe like that's something that we should hold on to as Nigerians. I feel like that definitely is one of the things that makes us unique. However, when this culture is further driving ethnic biases and divisions, how then do we draw the line or meet at the middle? Because we see things like even in our day-to-day living, because there are conversations that have been struck and debates that have been struck saying that they should leave out things like your state of origin when you're applying for like maybe loans or you're trying to open an account, because they wonder why is that important, and because they believe that putting that information could either put you at a disadvantage or put you at an advantage, which could be a disadvantage for the general masses, depending on the time, the place that this so-called maybe registration is happening. So how then do we get to that point where this thing called culture is not further dividing us, but rather bringing us together?
As long as we are living in this Nigeria, we can interact, compete with ourselves in positive ways to drive ourselves further. I mean, look at something like in Nigeria, we have Nuga Games, where all the universities in Nigeria bring their students to compete. Why are they doing that? Yes, it's competition, but it's to give us the best athletes in the nation. That's why we're able to pick from amongst those who are the best. As long as the Yoruba have the interest to create the best physicists, the Igbos are working to create the best physicists, the Hausas are working to create the best physicists. It is still for the betterment of the nation if we are not hindered by scarce resources that makes our competition unhealthy instead of healthy. You understand? And the people that create these scarce resources are the ones that are the problem.
So are you saying, Seun, that when we get to a Nigeria where there are sufficient resources, that this thing called tribal wars and ethnicity divisions will come to an end?
The Scottish people are still doing referendums and they want to break away from the English. There's nowhere in this world where people just embrace themselves blindly. See, this is what I'm saying. It's only when it comes to African people, they demand from us perfection before we can be respected as humans. Our humanity is based on perfection, whereas humanity is not perfect.
So when it is debilitating,
people will
what
fight,
happens?
people will argue, people will love, people will cry. We as Africans are allowed to experience the entire spectrum of human emotion. As I said, the only reason that everything manifests negatively here is the scarce resources and the oppression we are under. I'm telling you that the Scottish, after many years with the British, they are now agitating that they want to leave. If we are doing that now, they'll say it's tribalism. Abi? Tribal sentiment. Why is the Scottish leaving the British, not tribalism?
I mean, that's according to them. We're talking about here.
Yeah, but why are we not giving that same respect in our conversations? Wales, a country of 5-10 million, is a nation. Yoruba of 40 million, we are a tribe.
But that's another.
One thing I always ask also, Nigeria is 60, so tribalism is now 60 years old. Because before Nigeria, was there tribalism? This is what I always ask. Before Nigeria was created, if the Yoruba and Igbo fight, is it tribalism? Is it tribalism? Or before there was Nigeria, Yoruba and Igbo people, we didn't have fight. Yoruba and Dahomey people did not fight. Yoruba and Hausa people did not fight. Fight, and it will be seen as nations fighting nations.
Okay, fantastic. But then that's the thing. We are a nation. We're not talking about if the Yorubas or the Igbo should be divided into different nations. Now that we are a nation, and this thing called ethnicity is debilitating to us as a body, because we're a body now. It's different if we are different.
Yes.
When we come into a body and we begin to fight ourselves, there is division and it's debilitating to the whole. So how then do we, whilst embracing our culture, at least come together as a whole, knowing that we are moving forward and progressing as a people?
It is fight because it is not healthy competition. That's the point I'm making. If the elites that are supposed to develop this nation were doing their duty and professionals concentrating on developing the nation, then the competition will not be based on negativity. We will have healthy grounds to compete on. There will not be need for fighting for resources or advantages as we do now. When people are fighting themselves in the north, Christian and Hausa and Muslims, is it the rich Hausas that are going to fight the poor, the rich Christians? No, those ones are meeting in offices and drinking and sharing money. It's the poor people that fight for scarce resources. And they want the poor people to fight for those scarce resources instead of asking them for the appropriate share that should be okay for everybody. So the narrative is validated in society as if it is really true. Whereas people have not really been given the opportunity to express themselves in their true form. You understand? I always say to people like, I do not understand the Nigerians' true form. I feel Nigerian people are surviving, not thriving. So a man in survival mode will do things to survive. I will not really say, oh, this man is good. He's good, maybe he needs that ability to survive. You know, if he was thriving, maybe he would not be good. You know, so I don't really know, because for me now we are all criminals in Nigeria. Everybody.
Who are the we?
No, that is it, you know, because everybody is so quick to say it.
That's
but I always remind people like this is the same Nigeria that the so-called tribal people, Yoruba, Hausa, we used to have trust markets. Where markets where people sell their wares, but nobody is watching. But people will go there, take what they want, and pay. Nobody will steal. So how do we go from that kind of community and society to one that now everybody is a criminal? So what happened? What changed? You know, what has Nigeria brought to these people that has turned them like this? Look at your great-grandfather. Me, I'm 37 now. I say people in my generation, all their grandfathers are homeowners. If you're in my generation at 37, your grandfather is a homeowner. And he didn't work for anybody before he built that house. Most likely. What happened now? What did Nigeria now do since the last 60 years? That everybody is on the streets, homeless. You understand? So when people are saying right track, for me, right track from where? Because people will be, human sacrifice. Well, they brought civilization. Civilized who? You know?
All right. So let's just take some calls. Lagos Talks. Good morning. Who's speaking?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Who's speaking?
Mr. Seun, you see that song for us to play on the background? Adventurous sound.
All right, thank you very much, Ebuka. Let's get more calls.
You don't want Ebuka to win this one.
Yeah, so that people could get chance to call. This is coming from Olayekan saying, is Nigeria really a nation? The phone lines to call 0809234591. Ebuka, we appreciate you, but you need to free the line so people
DM
can
me.
call
We'll continue the discussion later.
Yes, DM me.
Ebuka, don't mind them.
Hi, good morning. Who's speaking?
Yeah, good morning. So my name is Kadi.
Hello, Kadi.
I think about this thing is it's more about the working environment.
Okay.
Now, who creates the working environment? It still falls back on the lap of the government.
Okay.
Everything that happens in Nigeria happens every other place. People have tribes, they have nations, and all these things. The working environment is the major issue. Now, if you use an analogy of a gun in the hands of a non-mobile is an instrument of fear. A gun in the hands of a soldier is an instrument of confidence to the people he's protecting. It's not the gun. The gun in itself is neutral. It's what you bring to it that creates the environment, the way people respond to things, and that's my own view about it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, this is coming from Louis saying, Ify and Seun, Nigeria has cultures. We expected to emerge as a nation with unique cultures. or with a unique culture or national values as symbols of unity and peacefully organized, happy people. Management and leadership are a basic problem in Nigeria. Thank you. This is coming from a listener saying the elites in this country live in a circle. They can't really see the hopelessness and poverty in Nigeria because they move from their helicopters to their penthouses, and this alienates them from the chaos that they engineered. This is from Jaja saying,
Jaja wants to do his own show, Neil. This is not question.
What is or are the
SC.
criteria for creating a country? Is this a common language? Is this a common religion? Is this a common culture? All right. This is coming from a listener saying, good morning, my name is Kamal. So Kamal saying the masses have been lamenting for all these years, forgetting to look back and realize that it's time we start coming up with solutions, or else the next 60 years will come and go without achieving anything. We have to move into giving away, this 60,000 naira. But yes, we are celebrating 60
Can't we just
years.
find it in my account?
Nope. We're celebrating.
ICPC
You have to lead by example.
ICPC will investigate.
We're celebrating 60 years. Moving forward, we know that Nigeria is in perilous times as we're seeing what's going on. Like Seun rightly mentioned, how do you identify a country that is progressing? You take a look at its poverty index. And if you see a government that is seeking and successfully reducing the rate of poverty in a country, to an extent, that government is successful. I believe there are two things that are very imperative, which is the reorientation of people. And I believe shows like ours is moving towards the reorientation of people, as well as other shows on Lagos.
We are doing nation building work here.
Yeah, so because I believe that, a whole lot has to do with your mind as a people. Now we can continue with the chicken and egg argument of, is it the government, is it the people, is it up, down, is it down, up? But what I would say is that you cannot have leaders that are better than the quality of people that they emanated from, which is the community, which is the family, because we are factories that create tomorrow's leaders or create the contributors of society. So even within ourselves, because I always say this whenever I'm on my show, that on one hand, aggressively hold the government accountable when we ought to do what we ought to do when we go out there to vote. Let's vote right. On the other hand, we should also hold ourselves accountable. Because we talk about corruption at the top, let's talk about corruption at the bottom as well. Because if there are certain things that we are allowing, if there are certain things that we are taking as a norm and as a culture, it's going to be an unending cycle. Because tomorrow we might think that going to the polls, we're going to vote better. But who are the quality of people? Yourself, are you good enough to lead, to be a leader? And it starts with your community. So I believe that it's very imperative that you as an individual and as a contributor of society hold government accountable, but also hold yourself accountable.
Stop laundering money in the banks. Stop taking money for marks, lecturer. Police, stop taking bribe on the... let me shut up.
All right, so we're going to ask a simple question because it's Independence Day.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be simple, right? So we're going to do this giveaway via the phone line. So we're going to get one winner via the phone lines and another winner via Twitter. So please listen and listen attentively so that you can follow the rules. On Twitter, you have to give us your name, your surname, and then use the hashtag #ThePeoplesPerspective. If you don't give us your name and surname, if you don't use that hashtag, if you don't get the spelling correctly, I'm sorry. So you have to get that hashtag #ThePeoplesPerspective so that we can actually see your tweet.
You spell check.
You give us then you give us the answer to the question that we're going to ask. Via the phone lines, don't stress us out by when you call, you don't give us your surname. So give us your name, your surname, and then the answer to the question we're going to ask. Seun, so I was thinking, okay, before we ask that, so that we can give everybody a fair chance, I'm going to read out the phone lines because we know that people like Ebuka, they have
the right question to ask. And if people can answer the question, I'll take the money.
Lie.
The question is this.
No,
Nigeria fought civil war in 1960.
Wait.
2 million people died.
Hey.
Name them.
That's interesting. Seun, do you even know their names?
I don't.
If they come up with names,
if you name the 2 million people, I will cross check.
Alright guys, the phone lines to call 0809-234-5913, 0809-222-0913, and also 0809-191-3913. So this question is this, it's very simple. Okay? What dates did the People's Perspective begin?
That one is even harder than my question.
It's not so hard now.
What date?
What date did the People's Perspective begin?
And I can give you guys a clue.
No, don't give them.
So
a
this
clue.
episode 9. That's the clue. Like it's a good clue. This episode 9. Help the people with a clue. And Nigerians are going through stress. So when did we start listing? You know.
I beg you, they should put in some work. Is it free money? No. It's free money. At least do something. Just something a little.
If you don't want to answer if it's own, answer my own.
No, don't answer his own, no. Because you will not win it.
Is that tell us the day we started this show or the name of all the people that died in civil war?
That's terrible. Alright, yes. Let's go to the phone lines. Lagos Talks. Lagos Talks.
Hello?
Hello, calm down. Good morning, what's your name?
My name is Abraham.
Alright, so next caller, like I mentioned, follow the rules. I said give me your name and your surname. Okay, Lagos Talks. Lagos Talks.
Hello?
Yeah? Good morning, who's speaking?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello?
Who is speaking?
Yeah, my name is Prince Sega Ewota.
Huh?
Prince Sega Ewota. Sega, S-E-G-A.
Okay, what's the answer?
On the 17th.
On the 17th?
Yes.
On the 17th of when? Of the day of Moses, of the year of, on the 17th?
You say the date now.
Oh. Now, wow.
Okay,
So the date doesn't have month, it doesn't, I don't understand. Come on, guys.
You have to give us date and month too.
Lagos Talks, good morning, who's speaking?
Good morning, Dr. Olajide on the line.
Akin
Akin Yodi Olajide on the line.
Olajide. Alright, what's the answer?
August 7, 2020.
Okay. Keep listening, we'll let you know. Lagos Talks.
Now you got it go.
Hey, Buka.
I don't give up for that, sir. I hear you say with the man. I see you, Jay.
Hey, Bukai, and the thing is that we can't see your line, so we don't even know which line to block.
Ebuka has enough lines.
Oh my gosh.
You can't stop Ebuka.
Listen, Bukai, I'm tired. Let's take this one. Lagos Talks.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, who's speaking?
Anya Tebelu.
Anya Chebelu Chinedu.
Yes.
Okay.
The answer is 7 August 2020.
Okay. Keep listening and we'll let you know. Lagos Talks. Lagos Talks. Good morning, who's speaking?
Hello, good morning. This is Sonny Ibrahim on the line.
Sunny Ibrahim.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's hear you.
August 7, 2020.
Alright, keep
You
listening.
see the amount of people
I'll
calling
let
from
you
this,
know.
loving this show, Igbo people, Yoruba people. I say, if we hate ourselves in this country, we'll be able to sit down here.
We have implicit biases, remember?
Yeah, implicit bias is implicit bias.
We have that.
But come on, you can't the problem. We're going for a long journey. We are
Mami
implicit
finish.
bias.
Because na English.
I beg, speak your own, I speak my own.
I know. You see, that's the division.
It's
Speak
not
English,
division, it's beauty.
No,
Variety is the spice of
fantastic,
life.
but then that's the thing. We can't communicate and connect. We speak
We get
common
pidgin
language.
to
Exactly.
connect.
Now that's another conversation. Should pidgin be our common language in
We
Nigeria?
have that one, but don't now say
Yeah.
pidgin should silence my Yoruba.
No, we're not saying pidgin
The
silence
way
Yoruba,
Nigeria,
but we're saying be
the way
accommodating.
Nigeria silences my Yoruba.
We're saying be accommodating.
I cannot travel in the
Accommodate.
world and say I'm a Yoruba man. I have to go and say Nigeria, the British sanctioned identity.
You can say that you're a Yoruba man from Nigeria.
Well,
Did they say you
you
should
see,
not
you see,
give them the full sentence? Did
you
they say you
see,
should stop?
you see?
Alright, this is oh, the first person to actually send a tweet.
Who was it?
Okay.
Hey, Buka, don't wait.
Ebuka is not one, no. So Ebuka,
Aye.
you sent a tweet saying the 9th of August. Alright, noted. This is coming from This is coming from
My enemies are happy.
Benga Olusheyi Ajileye is saying the 7th of August. We ask that you use the correct hashtag. So we're going to be looking at that as well, by the way. This is coming from Odusonya Michael saying the 7th of August. This is from the young entrepreneur Emmanuel Jaja saying the 7th of August. This is coming from Emmanuel Henshaw saying the 7th of September. This is coming from Seun Kazim saying the 7th of August. This is coming from Ebuka again saying the 7th of August. Mazi Emeka 7th of August. Wasiu 7th of August. Woof! Wow! So you people are listening. Fantastic. You can see. So a lot of tweets.
I say the people's perspective, how's the people behind it?
I like that. Alright guys, it is 12, so we need to wrap this up right here, right now. So Seun, will you do us the honors of announcing the winner via the phone lines? This one. Can you not see my handwriting?
I can see it, but one name is missing.
What's missing?
Okay.
What's Ebuka's name? Ebuka is not part of this list.
The winners are...
Just one winner.
Oh, only one winner you don't pick? Oh,
yes,
really? Okay.
From phone lines.
Oh, the phone line winner. Oh, okay, now I get it, sorry. My friend Ife was yabbing me, or my... This is that.
Hi, Ife.
Don't say hi to that Ife. He's a useless boy, he's yabbing me here. Don't worry.
What's he saying?
He said, I shouldn't be proud of my face. I'm more handsome than him. His girlfriend is always giving me eye. Akin Olajide is the winner of the phone section of the giveaway.
So you win 30,000 naira.
Akin, I beg if you come area anytime, may let us know where they can't declare. May I can't drink one beer for your neck. This 30 beer not be small thing. On a minimum wave you win, so. Olajide for the drinks.
Alright, our winner via Twitter. Like I mentioned, you're supposed to follow specific rules. Like give me your name and your surname. Use the correct hashtag, the people's perspective, and then the answer. So, Odusanya Michael, you're a winner.
I'm happy
Congratulations to you as well. By the way, the People's Perspective started on the 7th of August. So, and this and many more fantastic giveaways you should be looking forward to.
We are Lagos Talks 91.3.
Let's talk.